Hello and welcome back to episode 160 of this week's watches here in a very sunny and warm London, which I think everyone in the UK can definitely say we've been waiting for this. Finally, some nice weather, some nice warm weather where we can put on some shorts and have a nice time. I hope it's lovely where you're watching this today. Obviously going out Saturday 9:30 a.m. If you are new here, this is what we do every single week. We release new watches onto the website, usually somewhere between 8 and 12. This week there is 12 watches, but only 11 on the table as one sold before I could just about do this video. And as always, if you want to beat the website, head over to our Instagram at Kibble Watches, where you can see everything that's not yet on the website. And you can purchase it before it makes it to the website, like the one that is sold in this week's drop. Now quickly, the one that sold in the drop was a gorgeous 2000s Cartier Santos Galby steel and gold in 24mm, a reference 1567. That one has now sold, but down in the description you'll still see it listed, and you can head over to the website where you can view the photos and all the details, and obviously put in a request to be notified if I get another one. We keep all of the watches we've sold on the archive on the website, so that way you can always see what we've had, the kind of things we get, and also just for general research and sort of looking up things. There's probably, I don't know, hundreds and hundreds of watches on there for you to scroll through, possibly even in the thousands. I think definitely in the thousands actually. So be sure to use that information as you need. And also I apologise for any sniffles or my voice. As usual this time of year, once the sun comes out, also a cold comes out. I think my daughter may have brought it home from nursery. So I'm going to plough through this as quickly as possible, as informative as possible as usual, but just to save you from the croaky voice. Now what's on wrist? I'm wearing a gorgeous 2022 Rolex Explorer 136mm. This is the reference 124270, and it will be coming to the website eventually. But for now I'm going to wear and enjoy it, and if it sells off my wrist, which sometimes happens, then so be it. But yeah, really cool example. Now that all of that is done, let's crack on with what you're here to see, and that's the 11 watches on the table today. We're going to start with a very awesome and attractive Rolex Submariner steel and gold Bluesy, reference 16613 from 1997, from the original family and just back from a light polish, and it looks wonderful. So let's take a closer look. Starting off this week's episode with the gorgeous Rolex Submariner Bluesy. This is a reference 16613. And this is actually from the original family who bought it in February 1997. So it does come with its box and paperwork, which is really nice. Nice little set, and we just got it back from a very light polish. As always with the polishers, we request a light polish. We don't want to take out every single mark, and we don't want to dig into the metal. We just want to, you know, spruce it up a little bit, make it a little bit more presentable after being worn and enjoyed, which is what they should be. But this gives you an idea of how a watch can look after a light polish. And the nice thing about this one is it still features its sticker on the case back. This is a good example that just because a watch has the sticker on the case back doesn't mean it's unpolished. I've seen that many times where people have gone, oh, the watch is unpolished because it's got the sticker on the back. I mean, you can see here we've had it polished and avoided taking that sticker off. So please do not take that as a reason it is unpolished when you are being presented a watch, because there are either some very dishonest people out there or people that just don't know and have assumed, so don't be that person. But as I say, February 1997, this makes it a birth year for me, which is very, very cool if I was in a different financial position maybe, but the Bluesy is definitely gorgeous. Nice bezel, tritium dial and handset, just overall a lovely example. Inside is an automatic Rolex caliber 3135, and it comes on its 3-link oyster bracelet. Drilled lug holes. This is sort of the end period of the 16613, the 5-digit Submariner, where you still get all the charm of an older watch, but a lot of the sort of modern reliabilities that come with the newer watches, but you're not quite in the maxi case and the big solid thick oyster bracelet, solid end links, etc. So you still get some of that heritage and vintage charm, which is what I really like personally. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, fitted to my 7-inch wrist. You can see that looks wonderful, really, really nice pairing. The steel, gold and blue, I mean, it's a match made in heaven, really. So this is 40mm by 47mm lug to lug, 12.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs, with drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy. So go check it out on the website today. From there over to my favorite on the table, and a watch that I just think is incredible. Really, really beautifully done. That is this Ming 37.08 sand in 38mm, limited to 500 pieces with the most beautiful dial. So let's take a closer look at this one. As I said in the intro to this one, my favorite in this week's drop, and that is this gorgeous Ming Ming 37.08 sand. And this is limited to 500 pieces. 500 pieces total. A really wonderful example with that sand texture throughout the dial. Now I am finishing off the Dune series of books, working my way through it, and been really enjoying the films as well. This dial is like a scene out of Dune. I mean, that is incredible. How they've managed to do this, I don't know. I'm sure they share it on their website, and we might have a little description on it on our website as well. But that is one hell of a dimension that they've added into that dial, and the tone and colour is just beautiful. The way it plays with the lights, the finishing, everything about it is wonderful. So as I say, reference 3708. This one's from December 2023 with its box and paperwork. Comes paired on its original strap with its signed buckle. The way this buckle works, because I've sold one of these before with this buckle and the person had a few questions, so just so you can see for demonstration purposes, you put it through as you normally would any other strap, and then you fold it underneath there. So basically what it does is it tucks in the remainder of the strap to create a more seamless look, and then you just fold it out over and through. That brings us on to the exhibition case back right there. Really wonderfully decorated, manually wound movement right there. That's the Sellita SW210.M1, and I believe these are still modified by Schwartz Etienne for them. Please do see our description for confirmation on that. But yeah, really wonderfully done, beautifully executed, and as an overall package, is hard to beat, especially if you're after something a little bit different. Ming always provide that, but they've gone to the extra mile with this dial. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Oh, what a beautiful looking watch. And in this weather right now, out and about with this, it would pop. So this is 38mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, only 10.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. It's endless options, but please do try and use curved ends and curved spring bars because they just fit a lot better on these cases. But go check this watch out on the website today. From there over to a Schofield Signalman GMT and Power Reserve polished example that we just got back from Schofield. It's got a new strap, polished buckle. They polished the case the best they could, checked it all over as well. So it's backed with our warranty as usual, but a really cool watch, especially for the price. Just over £2,000 for this. It's a lot of watch for the money. So let's take a closer look. Now on to a Schofield, and for anyone who's been following this channel or myself for a while, you'll know I am a huge fan of what Giles over at Schofield has done with the brand and the direction of design and how he stuck true to it. And I am an owner of a Schofield as well. I own a very cool smaller case one that you can go see on their website, but this is more the traditional Schofield. This is a Signalman GMT Power Reserve, as you can see at 12 o'clock, GMT at 6 o'clock, which you can adjust with the little push button in the case right there. It comes with a tool in the box to make doing that easier. Date over at 3 o'clock, just a well designed and laid out watch overall. Limited to 300 pieces total, and as we flip it over, you're presented with a nice case back with a lighthouse proudly stated right there. As usual with Schofield, that is a recurring theme, as you'll notice. Inside is an automatic soap rod caliber 9335, which has been modified by them. And as I say, this one just come back from a polish, new strap, and a complete check with Giles over at Schofield, so it's backed by our warranty as you'd expect. Nice black suede strap, matching hardware, and it comes with 4 additional straps, all of which have been worn and enjoyed. And 2 of them have additional buckles, which we didn't have polished as well, but it comes with them. This is the one that we had polished with them. The case, as I say, has been polished by them the best they could. This watch has been worn and enjoyed as it should be, but some of the marks are just too deep to get out without lasering and going a bit crazy, which we decided we don't want to do. This is a watch that should be worn, it should have wear, and you should continue to do that yourself as well. This one's from April 2015 with its box and papers. That's enough chatting, let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. Now, you know when you're wearing a Schofield, they are big watches, they're meant to be big, they're bold, they're powerful, you know, they have all of that going for them. So if you're not a fan of those kind of things and those kind of watches on your wrist, do not get a Schofield. If you do like a big watch, then I would highly recommend considering Schofield, because they're brilliant. So this is 44mm by 51.5mm lug to lug, 15mm on the thickness and 24mm on the lugs. Nice big lug width right there. So go check out this watch on the website today. From there we have two Baltics on the table. We're going to start with this one. This is the Bicompax Pulso for Rake and Revolution, a limited edition of 250 pieces with its box and paperwork. Let's take a closer look. Now for the Baltic Pulso, this was a limited edition for the Rake and Revolution of 250 pieces, and over at 6 o'clock you can see an applied star proudly right there, which is the Rake and Revolution, or more the Revolution symbol, or logo I should say. Pulsation around the outside and a nice sector dial on the inside. A beautiful watch, harping back to vintage Patek, I would say, and Longines and many other from this period. A nice 36mm case reminiscent of Francois Bourgel. And there you go, simple screw down case back. Now inside this Pulso is a manually wound Seagull ST1901. That is the Chinese Seagull movement, which a lot of brands use, including most notably, or at least most notably recently, Studio Underdog with their chronographs. So it's a good movement, it works, it does the job. Not easy to service, so they are often replaced because it's more cost effective to do so. So just keep that in mind. But again, for the money, you can't go wrong with one of these. December 2021 with its full box and papers. You can see sticker still on the back, strap has been lightly worn. The watch overall has just been lightly worn. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, on my 7-inch wrist. You'll have to forgive me, there was a bit of dust on the bezel right there. That is not a mark, as you can see, it was just a bit of dust. These things easily happen when recording this much. So it's 36.5mm by 45.5mm lug to lug, 12.5mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes to make strap changing nice and easy. But you can see you get a vintage chronograph design on the wrist, a fraction of the cost of what a chronograph like this would actually cost from sort of the 50s and 60s. So go check out this watch on the website today. From there over to a newer release from Baltic. This is the Aquascaphe GMT green automatic 39mm with that really gorgeous sort of greeny blue bezel and the green GMT hand. So let's take a closer look. Now on to the Baltic Aquascaphe GMT. This is the blue and the green on the bezel with the green on the inside. A very attractive watch with that high gloss black dial and proud indices which really make it pop. Date at 6 o'clock, and that bezel is almost like a Bakelite bezel with the sapphire going over it. Very, very attractive, very nicely done, but then again, we would expect nothing less from Baltic. They seem to be an absolute powerhouse when it comes to design. Screw down crown at 3 o'clock, which is nicely signed, and it comes on this very attractive beads of rice bracelet with a push button right there. Nice signed case back right there, displaying a world time and some of the timings, which is really cool. And inside is an automatic Soprod caliber C125, and we're seeing Soprod being used across the board a lot more as an affordable alternative to Sellita and ETA, which is really, really great. This one's from December 2023, and it does come with its box and paperwork. So if you're after an affordable but very attractive and very reliable GMT from a brand a bit more left field, so most people will probably have no idea what it is, but those that do, they're going to be the people you want to have a chat with. This is the one to consider. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go, comfortably paired on my 7-inch wrist. The beads of rice really makes this design pop, and it definitely has those vintage hues while still being very modern, especially with those colours. So very nicely done, Baltic. This is 39mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs with drilled lug holes again to make strap changing nice and easy. So go check out this one on the website today. As you can see, we've got a lot more affordable watches on the table this week, and that's something I've been trying to do because we've had a lot of really crazy big pieces and we've got plenty coming as well. But a lot of people have said we want some more affordable, so I've worked on it for this week, and we're going to move on to now the Unimatic and Messina Lab limited edition bronze to 400 pieces. Really great watch if you like Unimatic but want something a bit heavier with that sort of more rustic look, which the bronze definitely gives. So let's take a closer look. Now for another Unimatic, I seem to be getting a few of these at the moment, which is nice. They're like buses. I don't have any for ages, and then all of a sudden I get like 5, which I'm not complaining about, but I'd like to have them a bit more consistently because they are fantastic. So as I say, this is the Messina Lab limited edition bronze with that very sort of pale grey, almost green hue to the dial. Really, really attractive and one to definitely see in person, but it works beautifully with the bronze on the case. As we flip it over, a stainless steel screw down case back, and the reference to this one is U4S-BRZ-ML, and it's from circa 2022 with its box paperwork, original strap with matching hardware, as well as a nice aged leather strap which actually hasn't been used, so that's in the box ready to be used, with also matching bronze hardware. Inside this is the automatic Sellita SW200-1. As a lot of you know, Unimatic often use Seikos, Seiko movements, the NH35s I believe, but this one is with the upgraded Sellita, and it does make a slight difference to the thickness, which I think is nicely used here, because the bronze definitely adds a heft to an already heavy watch, which I find the Unimatics are. Nice screw down crown at 3 o'clock, and the bronze is patinaing beautifully. As always, if you're not a fan of patina and age, then don't buy bronze, because it will patina and age, and that's kind of the unique perspective of it. So let's show this one on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist, a very good looking watch, great proportions as well, again on the bigger side, but still very, very wearable at 40mm by 48.5mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 22mm on the lug, so between this nice rubber strap and the leather strap provided in the box, you are set. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on to the fairer. This is the Fox Worldtimer green with bracelet. I believe you pronounce it Fox. It's F-O-X-E, so I apologize if it isn't pronounced Fox, but really, really gorgeous watch. These Worldtimers have been a big success for them, and you can see why, especially with the retail price, and the pre-owned prices are just a nice little discount on that price. This one comes with the bracelet as well, so a great value proposition. Let's take a closer look. Now for a fairer Worldtimer, this is the Fox, or F-O-X-E Worldtimer, with that gorgeous green dial, which has this sort of unique glossy but textured finish at the same time. I don't quite know how they've done this. It's like a textured dial that they've put a layer of lacquer over, and it just looks incredible. I mean, look at how that plays with the lights. You have a nice map in the middle, an outer ring around that, which can be modified by rotating the crown clockwise in the first position, and anti-clockwise change the date. Coming out all the way will change the time as normal, and also rotate that inner disc as you'd expect as well, as you can see. And then to use the inner rotating bezel, use the crown at the top to change your home time, basically. So with all of that complication, you can track multiple time zones and keep an eye on the world time as well, which is really, really nice and beautifully done, as we'd expect from Fairer. Nice case profile, again, as you'd expect, and as we flip it over, you're presented with an exhibition case back and an attractive modified rotor. Inside this is an automatic Sellita SW330-1, and this watch is from February 2024, with its box paperwork, original Fairer rubber strap, as well as the Fairer bracelet, which is unworn, so you get both strap options ready to go straight out of the bag with this one, but a really gorgeous example. So let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see very, very nicely proportioned and just works, especially on my size wrists, and it will work on smaller wrists and larger wrists, because they've sort of got their lug to lug length perfect in my opinion. So this is 39mm by 47mm lug to lug, 13mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options, but between the bracelet and the rubber strap, you're definitely set. So go check this one out on the website today. From there over to another watch that's definitely been a favourite of mine in this week's drop. I think mainly because it's a surprising one, and that's this Zealos Swordfish Field 38mm with the mosaic mother of pearl dial. Really great watch for way under £500. I'm quite amazed, to be honest, so let's take a closer look. Now for the Zealos Swordfish, this is the Field 38 mosaic mother of pearl dial, and as we take a closer look at that dial, look at that play with the lights. That is absolutely gorgeous, and it really is a mosaic pattern with the mother of pearl different in each slot, creating this unique sort of glisten that you just don't get with watches unless it has a huge amount of texture, or in this case, mosaic mother of pearl seems to definitely do the trick. Beautifully done, simple design, no date or anything like that. Zealos logo at 3 o'clock as you'd expect. Nice big sign screw down crown at 3 o'clock, and it comes on its nice sort of oyster style bracelet, which is very nicely finished, and it's big Zealos clasp with a push button glide underneath for on the fly adjustment, which is great, and a nice Swordfish screw down case back as well. Inside this is an automatic Seiko caliber NH38, and this one's from November 2023 with its box and paperwork. And there's not a huge amount more to say on this one other than if you're after something a bit different, something that stands out in the crowd but in all the right ways, this is definitely one to consider, and I think is super fun and well proportioned and well priced altogether. So let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see very comfortable, and it doesn't look too small or too big at all. Again, just fits the wrist nicely. This is 38mm by 43.5mm lug to lug, only 12mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs. So endless options for straps, but I think the bracelet definitely leaves that dial to be the star of the show, which it certainly is. So go check it out on the website today. Now onto a classic, which is kind of resembling what's on my wrist at the moment. That's the Smith's Everest PRS 25 gilt dial 36mm. Again, a great watch under £500. They're very hard to get at retail. They do like batch releases, which make it a bit confusing and a bit difficult to get. I wish they were just available there, but they're not. So you can buy it pre-owned here. Now on to another Smith's Everest. I seem to get these in every so often, and they sell pretty quick as well. So this is another great opportunity to pick one up. This is the PRS 25 gilt with the gilt on the inside, Mercedes Hands 369 Explorer dial, and this one has been worn and enjoyed as it should be, so it's ready to continue sort of living that life, you know, as a everyday watch, something you do the gardening, you go on holiday with, it can do everything, and that's the nice thing about these. This one's from July 2021 with its box and paperwork, all of its spare links, push button clasp, nice signed screw down case back, and inside there is an automatic Miyota caliber 9039, so part of the higher grade series of Miyotas, and the dials on these are fantastic. So screw down crown at 3 o'clock as well, as I'm sure I said. Now, as I say, if you're a fan of the Explorer, which I certainly am, this is a great affordable alternative, but with its own history and heritage. You know, if you haven't already, head over to our website, read the description of this one. There's very, you know, there's a lot of information out there about Smiths and the Everest and the Sherpas and everything like this, so really do give it some research. It's a really cool brand and history. So let's show on wrist and talk dimensions. And there we go, on my 7-inch wrist, you can see super comfortable. Very nice, and definitely wears more in line with an older Explorer, I'd say, one of the sort of 5-digit or 6-digit references, not quite the latest one, more like a 114270 or something like that, which is really nice. So 36mm by 44mm lug to lug, 11mm on the thickness and 20mm on the lugs, so endless options with drilled lug holes. So go check this one out on the website today. Now on something for the people who like smaller watches, this is the Seiko Presage 34mm automatic rose gold SRP 852J1. I don't know why I decided to say the reference, but there we go. Really gorgeous cocktail time, smaller case, 34mm. I think it looks beautiful on my wrist, but great for someone with a smaller wrist or just the people who prefer smaller watches. So let's take a closer look. So Seiko Presage, this is the cocktail time rose gold 34mm, as you can see with the automatic movement. Really nice example, this one, especially if you're after that smaller, dressier, classy watch, but still with a slight flair, especially when you take a closer look at that dial. The way that pattern just radiates from the center is absolutely gorgeous, and really nice finishing on the hands and indices, as you'd expect from Seiko, to be honest. They do a very good job when it comes to really beautiful watches at the affordable price point. Sign crown at 3 o'clock, and as we flip it over, this is the original strap with a deploying buckle, which is also matching rose gold, and exhibition case back right there, showcasing the automatic Seiko caliber 4R35, which fits the case nicely. I like it when a movement does that. This is the SRP 852J1 from April 2023 with its box and paperwork. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. As you can see, it doesn't look out of place in my opinion. It looks like a smaller, classy dress watch, which I think is exactly the point here. Obviously great for anyone who likes their smaller watches. So in terms of dimensions, this is 34mm by 40mm lug to lug, only 11mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lugs, so endless options for strap pairings for this one. So go check it out on the website today. And last but by no means least, a watch that I should have worn when I was at the pub this weekend, that's for sure. That's this Timex, and second, if you know, you know, episode 5, root beer, with a root beer in the center as the second hand. This is completely unworn, still has the stopper in the crown as well to stop it ticking. So yeah, pick yourself up this new. Let's take a closer look. Now for a very cool Timex, this is part of the second series. That gentleman, or that company I should say, is doing some really great collaborations with many brands and offering something really unique and different. And this is part of the If You Know You Know series, episode 5, root beer, as you can see, inspired by the root beer design with the steel and gold and the two tones of brown essentially in gold within the dial and the bezel. But they've added a nice little flair of a root beer as the second hand, so that actually ticks round when the watch is running. As I mentioned in the intro, it still has the plastic stopper in there, and this watch is unworn and unused, paired on its Timex bracelet, which again is steel and gold, like so, and screw down case back right there with the battery cover. Won't bore you with the reference to this one, you can go see it on the website, but it is a limited edition of 500 pieces total, and it's from circa 2023 with its box and paperwork, so ready to be worn and enjoyed. I'm not going to say a huge amount more because it's pretty self-explanatory. This is an affordable and super fun watch that I think just looks really cool. So let's show it on wrist and talk dimensions. And here we go on my 7-inch wrist. You can see very nice proportions, and from afar it just looks super cool, and then when you get up close you realize it's got some funkiness to it with that second hand, which I think is amazing. So this is 38mm by 44.5mm lug to lug, 12mm on the thickness and 18mm on the lugs, although I'd be keeping it on this bracelet personally. So go check it out on the website today. So there you have it, guys and girls. This week's drop from very cool two-tone Submariner to something really amazing from Ming to something fun from Timex. There really is something for everyone in this drop, from price range to brand to style. It's amazing, and this is what I want to achieve every single week at Kibble Watches, and that's thanks to you guys and girls that I'm able to do this. You are offering me your watches every single day, which is great. Obviously, please don't take offense if I don't take your watch. Just to give some context, I get offered anywhere between 20 and 30 watches a day, and that's just from private individuals like yourself. That's not from the trade and all the trade chats I'm in. So I'm being offered so many watches every single day that I'm in a very fortunate position where I can be very selective and picky. So please do not take offense if I do not take your watch. It happens more often than not now. It didn't used to be the case, I was able to take a lot more, but I have to be very selective now, especially with just being a one-man band and doing this on my own. Time is difficult. So yes, I hope you all enjoyed this week's episode. Let me know down in the comments what's your favourite. Mine is this Ming, and then probably, well actually I like them all obviously, but I think the Ming is definitely my favourite this week. So I look forward to hearing what is yours, and see you all again next week. Take care.